So some opportunities when working with Blogger. I've said a lot about blogger outreach. This can really gain you that third-party credibility when we work with the media that we're hoping for. The one thing that I think I can share if anyone is interested in working with bloggers is really to be transparent. They know when you're faking it. They know when you send them a blind press release and don't include their name on it. They do. I can tell. I've heard fun stories. The other thing is authoring a blog. Does it make sense for you? The biggest thing is in working with bloggers too that we know is how can we add value to what they're already doing? And then who blogs? You said for the Akron Canton, you have, who did you say, the vice president? Yeah. Blogging too. Who's going to make sense and who's going to really have that voice? So not only providing a post, but also being ready and able to talk back and forth with them. The other thing that we're seeing a lot with bloggers, I just attended a Mom 2.0 conference on behalf of a few clients. This whole idea of sponsored content is coming up. Does anyone know who Deuce is? Heather Armstrong, she's a huge blogger. So she was at this panel, and it was really cool to hear her talk. Suave is working with her and her advertising agency called Federated Media. And what they're doing is they had this whole idea that as women, we spend a lot of money on hair salon products that cost Aveda, $30, $40. They really thought that Suave quality is just as good. Heather is obsessed with her hair, if you know anything about her. So they really came to her with a few different ideas. And on her blog, deuce.com, it's not up anymore, otherwise I would show it to you. She is actually in her ads on her blog. So it's really taking her branding, as all millions of us who follow her on Twitter, and really putting that into perspective and the brand working with the blogger, not so much the brand forcing everything, but realizing her equity as a blogger. Okay, so the one, I wanted to share one case study, but I first wanted to know if anyone would be interested in sharing any brand that they feel it can easily be easier if you share it as a consumer, but that's doing a really good job in social media. Any brand. It could be a car company, Starbucks, okay, based on all the Twitter handles that they have and how they invite bloggers out.
Yeah, and that site that was shared earlier, my Starbucks site.
Oh yeah, I like that one. Okay, Pepsi Refresh, the Refresh Everything, I think it is, that comes to mind for me. Anyone else personally that you're engaging with? I'm sorry? P&G? Dove, okay, I'm sorry, I was trying to find you, yeah. Dove, I'm going to talk a little bit about Dove later, but that's another good one too. They're actually reaching out to bloggers in a few different ways as well. The one I wanted to talk about was Troy-Bilt. Has everyone heard of Troy-Bilt? Okay, manufacture outdoor power equipment. So what I wanted to talk a little bit about this was how we went about engaging this group of garden bloggers. Any gardeners in the group? You are? Okay. You have blogs? Know about it? You never know. So what happened was a few years ago, this is about 3 years ago, which I know doesn't sound that far along from now, but 3 years ago was a big deal in the blogosphere. Not many companies were working with bloggers, but not heavily too much, not like they are now. And so what we did was we started listening because as we knew our audience was typically the baby boomers and they were transitioning to Gen X, and we know that they get their information a different way than traditionally. Just as my generation, we get information a different way. So we started listening to the conversation because we thought, are there bloggers out there? So what we first set up were Google Alerts. Everybody has Google Alerts. Some of the new things that we have now, like tweet beeps, tweet alerts, backtype, I don't even know was available 3 years ago, but those are just some key tools that we use to monitor. So we just kind of delved in and just started looking and seeing who's talking about their garden. What we found was this whole community, which I think has got to be in the 9 millions now, of bloggers who are sharing about their garden. They're talking about the petunias that they're planting. They have a farm and they're talking about their gardening. They're talking about the huge vegetable, like the row of peas that didn't work this year and how they were transplanting it to another area. And we found that of those garden bloggers, there are different segments. Some live on a farm. Some are a little more organic focused. Some will only use electric equipment. So what we looked into was we approached these bloggers. So everyone's heard about Bad Pitch blog, right? Where people they post bad pitches. We weren't on there. But what I wanted to share was there was this way of pitching these bloggers. So we started off, when we worked with our client to do this, and we said, let's let them test any product that they want up to $1,000, which is huge. So we approached, I think, 15 to 20 bloggers and said, we're with Troy-Bilt. We love a product review. Do you have any gardening any gardening tools that you need to be replaced, or any projects that you have coming. So for instance, a tiller. A tiller can range from $699 up to $1,000. So were these people planning on planting a new garden? So they chose anywhere between a tiller, lawnmowers, they chose an electric cultivator, so they really got to choose what they wanted to. So now what happens is, I'm sure what people are thinking, sometimes you send products and they break, right? Well, they do, and they can. And the one thing that we still do to this day is we want them to be honest. That's the whole point of this. We never gave them keywords. Sometimes you'll hear that companies will ask bloggers, can you please use these different keywords? We don't do that because we want it in their voice. They have the audience, they have the readership based on that people see themselves in them. So for one, let me tell you one little story about a tiller that broke. So we sent it to a garden blogger who'd probably been in the game for like 3 years. Her name's Kathy Purdy at Cold Climate Gardening. She has this huge farm in upstate New York. We sent her this tiller, and I get an email. Hi, Allison, I have the tiller, but it broke. I'm like, okay, we can get you a new one. It broke in 2 different places. So we can't tell her not to write about that, right? We have to maintain transparency, which we did. And then we ended up having to call an area manager for Troy-Bilt to deliver the tiller. It was about maybe a week to get there, to take the other one back. He stayed with her, showed her how to use it. Her husband was there because he was operating the unit. And then we got a post out of it. And it was whatever she wanted to be. She took pictures of the broken tiller, where it broke at. She was very honest that it broke. However, here's what Troy-Bilt did. Here's my review of it. And we're still working with her today. So you have to kind of be prepared for the unexpected, because things like this happen, and they're going to write about it, because that's what bloggers do.